Well, we are back again with Mornings Don't Have to Suck, your go-to AM motivation and mindset podcast to start your day without the dread. In the short time we have together, you might just learn something about yourself and how to approach your day from a new and clever perspective. My name is Kaylin, your host and founder of Live Your Clever Life Coaching, and we will go ahead and jump right into it today. We are going to talk about how we talk to ourselves, aka how you talk to yourself every day when you wake up and you start to attack your day. So with that in mind, quickly take a second to just take a big deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as you do that, ask yourself that question. How do I talk to myself throughout the day? I'm going to post some questions for you and you can take them as you will and see what answers kind of come up for you. But the first one, or I guess the series of them is, are you supportive to yourself? Are you helpful? When you wake up in the morning, do you think, okay, what do I get to do today? Or do you wake up dreading the schedule in front of you? And with that, how are you communicating those feelings to yourself? Are you helpful? Are you kind? Are you cruel to yourself? Are you extra critical? Do you immediately show your frustration or your negativity? Really start to be aware of those feelings and how they show up for you, especially in the morning. Because oftentimes if you wake up in a bad mood, unless you take some active steps to get out of it, that mood will continue throughout the day, right? So how do you talk to yourself in the morning? I am probably one of those people whose friends get annoyed with them when it comes to these types of conversations because I'm a really regular gal. I will wake up and just be like, yeah, what do we got today? I'm usually not super dready unless I have something I really don't want to do. But even then, I'm just like, whatever, it'll be fine. I just don't put a lot of my energy there because I'm not a fun person when my energy is focused on the negativity and the frustration and stuff I don't want to do. I'm just not fun and I don't like that. So I would prefer to just be like, whatever, we'll get through it. No big deal. And my friends often are like, why don't you just can you get mad? And I'm like, yeah, sure. But then I don't like staying mad because it's not a good use of my energy. But when you wake up in the morning, start to think about that and start to pay attention to what you say to yourself as you start to tackle the things that you need to do. So as you get out of bed, do you turn around and go, oh, great, I have to make my bed? Or do you turn around and go, let me make my bed so that later it's cozy for me? I look forward to returning to it every time I pass it. I look and go, oh, look how comfy that is. When you go to make your breakfast, are you like, oh, great, oatmeal again? Or are you like, look, there's a healthy breakfast I have in front of me. And I know those examples are kind of cheesy, but also that's real. And when you talk to yourself oh, great, another long day ahead. Well, baby boo, that's the day you're going to have. That's exactly what's going to happen. So realizing that the way that you talk to yourself is super important. And it will dictate the type of day that you have, how you see opportunities in front of you, how you communicate with the people around you, how you show up at work, how you show up in your fitness if you're working on that, how you show up in, whatever ways you are working to show up in will be dictated often by how you talk to yourself. If you've listened to more than one of these, you may have heard, because I drop it into conversation because I have a lot of examples from it, but I'm also a spin instructor, so an indoor cycling instructor. I cannot tell you how many times in class I ask this question is, what are you saying to yourself right now? Because 6 songs in, you're working a lot of muscles. You're in your head a lot of the times. I know, I do it with you. I'm doing the thing on the bike too. And oftentimes we'll get to points where our minds are like, yeet, that's enough. I've done enough. I'm kind of tired. What if I just peeled back? Or there's the flip side of things, which is I used to be this person before I became a spin instructor is, wow, this is so hard. This sucks. You're not strong enough to do this. Wow. What's going on? We should be stronger than this. Where you really start to get down on yourself. And let me tell you, that takes you nowhere. It keeps you stuck. Your feet are in cement. You cannot move. And there's just nothing positive or productive that happens there. So if you catch yourself going down that route of the negative self-talk, note it's very normal. Please also note that we all were not trained to not think that way. We are often coaxed into thinking that way because society is the way that it is. And on top of that, know that you can change it. And I often get pushback. I've gotten a little pushback from clients in this before, but most of them, when they sign up with me, they understand that this is part of the process. Like, we are going to work on getting the negative self-talk out of there, so expect it. But those that don't quite expect it, or that know it's coming but aren't quite aware of it, or aren't quite ready to tackle that yet, will push back on this, because when you've thought a certain way for your entire life, or for many years, or for decades, or however long, it is so easy to convince yourself that that's the only way that you can think. Because what else would you think, right? You've been thinking that way for so long, it does not feel like there's another way. Spoiler alert, I'm so sorry to break it to you. There are so many other ways, and you can decide to think and live a different way. Now, of course, there are medical things, there are mental health things that can impact that, but the majority of people out there in this world can make a change if they choose to. And that's the one thing that is standing in the way, is the choice to change. I give this example a lot in just life and whoever I'm talking to, normal conversations, that my big aha moment was I went to college. I left a very, very, very solid group of friends. We're all still friends 20 something years later. One of my favorite things. There were 8 of us who were friends since elementary school. None of us were going to the same college, and that was devastating at the time, of course. And I went to a college, never been there really before, didn't know a soul that was there. And I was sitting in my dorm room completely alone, just oh my gosh, what have I done? What am I going to do? And I heard a voice in the hallway, and I went, this is your opportunity to choose to either step out of your comfort zone and go make new friends, or choose to stay in here and wallow about how you don't have any. The person I took the deep breath and walked into the hallway to, I'm going to her baby shower next week. So you just literally never know what happens. She's still one of my best friends, and that decision completely changed how I approach pretty much every social situation, because I realized it was a choice. I was deciding to feel down, or I could decide to do something about it. So take that, think about it. What times in your life, what areas of your life, what relationships in your life, or potential relationships have you maybe missed out on because you weren't willing to alter or to shift your thoughts? And when you approach those thoughts, please don't look at them from a point of regret or shame. Look at them from a point of, let me learn from this, and I will change it next time, or I'll do it differently next time, or I'll try this next time. You'll hear me say a lot on this podcast and this channel, shame has no space here. Shame has been used as a tool to keep us in our place, if you will, for far too long. So whether it's you shaming yourself, you've been shamed by a family member, friend, society, whatever it is. We don't do that here, okay? We only uplift, we only excite, we only focus on the stuff that is tangible and the stuff that is productive. And shame is neither of those things. It is a feeling that was put in place to keep you there. So when you're approaching these things, try to keep that in mind. Another thing on top of that I kind of want to transition it to before we wrap up today is, how do you approach self-doubt? The reason I bring this up, and I've already covered a little bit of doubt on a previous episode, but your doubt will dictate what you do and don't try, right? So when you're talking to yourself in those situations, as the doubt rises up, what do you do? I seriously want you to take a moment, maybe jot it down in your notes section of your phone, write it down if you have a pen near, but what do I do when doubt pops up? And start to list the things that you normally do. Little life coaching exercise here. Write down why. Write down the trigger, write down why. The reason is you learn a lot about where those things come from and where those feelings come from. And most of the time they have nothing to do with you. It was one incident 12 years ago where you did something and somebody reacted negatively. So you wiped that from your realm of doing. Start to kind of review those, see what happens. And then on the flip side, write down what you could do instead. So one thing I like to do is when I feel doubt, I kind of take that as a sign to step on the gas, because if you are doubting yourself, it's probably because you're on the cusp of that next level, or of developing or overcoming something that you are about to leave behind. And our bodies almost know when those things are happening. And so they like to grasp and to hold on a little bit more. So think about that. If doubt pops up, what happens if you choose to keep pushing? Try them in little spurts. Maybe it's in a workout class, so you hold the weight longer or you run longer or whatever it may be. Maybe it's a conversation or a networking group where you've been nervous or you've been uncomfortable. So you are like, maybe I'll meet this new person today. Like I should just one person. Try something different and see what happens. Especially in the face of doubt. Doubt is simply there to show you that you're doing something you've never done before, or that your inner critic is alive and well. That's about it. Apart from that, doubt is just a feeling. And if you accept it for just being a feeling, it's a lot easier to let go of or to acknowledge that it's there and just keep on moving past it. So that's my goal for you today. That's my assignment for you today, is to really assess how you are talking to yourself and then how you are talking yourself through doubt. It will enlighten you a little bit. I will guarantee it. If you take it seriously, it'll give you some insight into who you are and how you approach things. And maybe there might be something that you want to change. Maybe there's something you want to amplify. Give yourself the permission to assess where you're at any given point in your day and choose something different. Other than that, have a wonderful day. Got some other episodes to listen to. Remember, I am posting these pretty much every weekday. So every weekday when you wake up to eat your breakfast, get dressed, whatever it is, feel free to pop this on. If you hear something that you like or that you think would be beneficial, please share it. I want to make sure that this is getting to the people that need it. So thank you as always for hopping on, but have a wonderful day and take care of yourselves.